Hola alumnos, esto es Señor Long. Claro, claro. Chicos, today I am not in school. I apologize. I know on this half day you're very upset that I am not there to enjoy it with you, but I am in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, doing really fun things. Not really, I'm at a meeting. But, chicos, it's very important that you pay attention today. I don't want day A to get more behind than they already are. So, I decided that I'm going to teach you the lesson via YouTube. So this way, not only are you going to get the information, but you can access it online later. Muy bien? Así que, ya vamos a empezar. Ok, chicos, hoy vamos a hablar de el infinitivo. Now, this is a grammar term, and I want you to know the grammar. It is painful. I know. Grammar is painful. But it's very important that we talk about it today. Okay? So, I need everyone to have the apunte sheet out. It looks just like this. It says apuntes. That means notes. Okay, chicos, you're going to be following along and writing what I write. I know it's a little hard to see, so I'm going to have subtitles that will appear down here. Okay? So, chicos, the infinitive. Infinitive. Or in Spanish, el infinitivo. Infinitivo, chicos. Repiten, infinitivo. Muy bien, muy bien. Is the basic form of a verb. And now I know we've talked about this in all of my classes. Chicos, ¿qué es un verbo? ¿Qué? What is a verb? ¿Qué es un verbo? Chicos, what is a verb? So I want you to take a second and I want you to share with a partner what you think a verb is. Te espero, chicos. Okay, muy bien, chicos, muy bien. You probably came up with a verb is an action word. You've also said something that you do, ¿verdad? Something that you do. Así que, chicos, in English, most infinitives include the word to. Okay? So, some examples of this might be to jump. Muy bien? Another example of this might be to be. Like Hamlet, right? To be or not to be. Muy bien? To be. Now, chicos, to jump and to be do not tell us who is performing the action or when they're performing the action. I'll repeat that. To jump and to be don't tell us who or when the action is being performed. ¿No? Así que, chicos, miren. To jump, to be is the infinitive. It's the basic form of the verb. Muy bien? Chicos, in Spanish, el infinitivo. Infinitivo. Are always one word. Just one. So here it's two. To jump. To be. Infinitivo, in Spanish, one word. Así que, chicos, they are always going to be words that end in what announcement?
Please turn to channel 4 for more announcements.
Chicos, they're always going to end in ER, AR, and IR. Okay? ER, AR, IR. Okay? Chicos, quiero que ustedes piensan en esos terminaciones. Chicos, I want you to think about these verb endings. I want you to think about the verbs we learned in class, okay? Like we have up here, leer, escuchar, escribir, hablar. They all end in ER, AR, IR, okay? All of them. Muy bien? And that's because these words do not tell us who is performing the action or when they're performing the action. That means that a verb is the infinitivo. The infinitivo. Así que, chicos, I want you to think about some of the verbs we've been learning in class. One that I know we've been learning in class is, in every class, jugar. 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 Jugar ends with AR. It means to play, right? And we say jugar fútbol americano, play football, ¿verdad? Jugar videojuegos, ¿no? También tenemos ser. Now, chicos, you're probably looking at this and you're like, Mr. Long, I don't know that one. I know that one. You do. Ser is the verb that somos, es, nosotros somos, él es, yo soy, tú eres, right? That's where ser comes. That's all ser, okay? And that ends with an ER. But unlike somos, es, soy, eres, right? Ser doesn't tell us who or when the verb is taking place. Okay? So another one might be, right? Hablar. Hablar. Well, I got hablar written down. Muy bien. So this is another example because it ends in AR again. Okay? It ends in AR again. Así que, chicos, I want to make sure that you all have these notes, so take a moment, check with your neighbor, and make sure you have all the notes copied down. Chicos, now we're going to look at our old friend, the Frere model, right? And we remember this because when we talked about the Frere model the first time we did, right? What we do? Cognado, ¿verdad? Cognados. Los cognados. Así que, chicos, cognados, right? So we're going to do another one today, but we're going to do one for the infinitive, for el infinitivo. Now, chicos, I'm going to show you an example of how to do this. Chicos, do not write this down, okay? I'm going to show you an example, and then you are going to do it for infinitivo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it for verbo, okay? I'm going to do it for verb, okay? You're going to do it for infinitivo, but I want to remind you how we do this, right? So, chicos, definition for verb, right? We've already talked about this. This is right in your notes, and when you do infinitivo, you're going to get it right from your notes. So, chicos, a verb is, right, an action word. It's an action word, right? Chicos, if I'm looking about facts and characteristics about verbs, I'm really asking, how do I know it's a verb? How do I know? Chicos, a verb is something you do. So, something I can do. Can I jump? Yes, it's a verb. Can I walk? Yes, it's a verb. Chicos, I need some examples. I'm going to try to think of some examples in Spanish. So, vamos a pensar. Escribir means to write. Escribir. Exactly what I'm doing right now. Escribir también. Leer. ¿Verdad? También tenemos correr. Correr. ¿Verdad? Aquí está. Escribir, leer, correr. How about some non-examples? I'll give you one. Look, Señor Long is not a verb. También, lápiz, chicos. What is lápiz? Pencil. Muy bien. Lápiz. También, chicos, another thing that's not a verb is la pizarra. Chicos, we haven't talked about this one, but when I talk about la pizarra, I'm talking about the board. La pizarra. Chicos, I hope none of you copied this down. You shouldn't have. No one should have copied this down. Chicos, now what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at the same chart on your paper. I'm going to let you work in partners. And you're going to fill in this Frere model. Okay? You're going to fill in this Frere model. And chicos, first let's talk about, you're going to write infinitivo. Chicos, the definition is right in your notes. So take a look back at your notes if you're looking for the definition of what an infinitivo is. Chicos, the characteristics are also right in your notes. But I want you to think about the characteristics for infinitivos in Spanish. That does not mean you have to write this in Spanish. You have to think about what the characteristics of an infinitive are in Spanish. Okay? Chicos, examples, right? You should have examples of the infinitive in Spanish. Okay? You should have examples of the infinitive in Spanish. Chicos, también, you should have examples of you should have non-examples that are in Spanish, right? Okay. So we're going to check back in just a few minutes, all right? The substitute is going to time you for 7 minutes. At the end of 7 minutes, we're going to take a look at this verb model. Muy bien? Así. Chicos, I hope you had time to fill out the Infinitivo verb model. Now let's take a look at the definition. Chicos, the definition of Infinitivo that you should have written on your paper is the most basic form of a verb. So chicos, make sure you have that. Chicos, let's take a look at some of the characteristics. First, the characteristic is going to be one word, right? In English, an infinitive is 2 words. To, and then the verb. Here, just one word. Chicos, it ends in AR, ER, IR. Chicos, also, it does not tell us who or when the action takes place. So, does not tell us who is doing the action or when they're doing the action, okay? So, examples of this would be, right, some of the verbs that we had before it. Escribir, hablar, escuchar. See? Should have 3. It doesn't matter for those 3, okay? And then the non-examples would be, things like nouns, and I'm sure you guys thought of a lot of them. But I want you to also think of these. Somos, son, soy, es, right? Eres. Oh, perdón. Eres. All of these are non-examples because they tell us who and when the action is taking place, right? If I see eres, I know that I'm talking about tú. If I see es, I know I'm talking about él o usted. ¿Verdad? Así que chicos, these are non-examples because these verbs are conjugated. They tell us who and when, right? When we're talking about the infinitive, we're only talking about verbs that do not tell us who or when. Okay? And chicos, none of these end in AR, ER, or IR, right? Nope, I don't see it. Así que chicos, what you're gonna do? Nope, I don't see it. Así que chicos, what you're going to do now is you're going to follow the substitute's instructions for completing a little bit of independent practice, okay? Have fun!